Hey there, and welcome to this week's discussion episode, which will be in the format of an audio podcast featuring various guests. I'm your host, Zolfury, and today's guest is the one and only Psychochef. So hi there, Psychochef. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, Zolfury. Hi, guys. Psychochef here.
All right, sounds good. So I guess just briefly tell the audience what you do on YouTube, I guess. And I guess we'll just kind of then get into today's topic. So...
Alrighty. Well, for me, my YouTube vlog at the time, initially I started out, I tried to do a how to speak nerd kind of deal, and it didn't really take off too well. I kind of fudged it up a little bit, and then I just saw that there was a whole bunch of Guild Wars 2 stuff going on. I know that you and Zamboni Chaos are doing your own thing, and there's a couple other people like Snebzora just started seeing some stuff on his channel, and of course, needless to say, watching Total Biscuit religiously every day. So
Good
then
man,
I just
good man.
decided, you know what, I think I'm just going to roll with it and try to do my own thing in my own way. And to be honest with you, you are my inspiration, or one of my inspirations. So if I seem to do a lot of things similar to you, I'm not trying to copy you.
All right. Fair
You
enough.
are the people that inspired me to do the whole Guild Wars 2 thing. So, but,
All right. Well, I don't know what to say. All right. Well, I guess thanks, and you're welcome. Maybe I don't know. So why don't you go ahead and announce today's topic, because the viewers totally haven't seen the title.
exactly. So for those of you that haven't seen the title of what we're going to be talking today, we'll be talking about the crafting disciplines in Guild Wars 2. And I know that I have been calling them professions up until now because I have played WoW for 4 years, and so now I have to go from saying class and profession to profession and discipline.
Yeah.
So if I get one mixed up, I hope I don't confuse you.
Yeah, you already confused me plenty.
I do apologize about that.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right. Okay, so I guess then today we'll just, like you said, talk about the disciplines. And I guess we'll just start with a little bit of an overview of what the different disciplines are and what they do. And do you want to just go down the list yourself? Do you want to alternate? How do you want to do this?
We can alternate. That's fine.
Okay.
I've got my handy dandy list here.
Gotcha. All right, so I guess I'll just start off with the weaponsmith.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are your basic, they're kind of like your blacksmiths from WoW, except that they don't make armor. They just make weapons, and it's all the melee weapons. It's like, the swords and the hammers and all that jazz. Probably shields. Actually, no, maybe the armor smiths might do the shields. I don't know, but yeah.
I haven't actually seen anything about who might be doing shields. I would assume it would be armor smiths, though.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, anyways, there's your weaponsmith there. They do your melee weapons. So the next one is?
Next, we have the huntsman, who does all the ranged weapons. They don't do any kind of melee weapons or anything like that. They make all the bows, pistols, the rifles, and they also do the torches and the war horns.
Indeed.
Which I think is actually kind of cool that you have, two specific, you've got weapons, and then you've got kind of the offhand deals, which is a little bit new concept to me.
Yeah. So, and then you have your artificer, which create your magical weapons, which is like, the staves and scepters and the staves and scepters. So
staves.
Yeah. It's about all for them. Next.
All right, and then next we have the armor smiths, which is obviously your heavy armor pieces, your plate armor, and I would assume the shields, since that kind of qualifies.
Yeah, perhaps. I guess we'll have to wait
totally
and see.
Theoretical. I haven't seen anything that's definitive on that.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, and then next we have your leather workers, which, as you can imagine, creates leather armor, which is the medium armor. So they craft all the armor for like the thieves and the rangers and the engineers. And then
after that, we have the tailors, which are obviously the cloth pieces, your elementalists, your necromancers, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And then the two kind of miscellaneous ones. The first one is the jewel crafters, which create obviously the jewelry, like the rings and necklaces and trinkets and that kind of a thing that go in the off equipment slots.
Mm-hmm. And of course, last and by no means least, you have the wonderful cooks.
Yeah.
which I can guarantee you that I will be using that on probably every one of my tunes. I
Well,
can't imagine why.
you'd probably only need it on one.
Shh. You're spoiling my fun.
Okay, fine. So,
Hey, I'm the psycho chef, you know?
yeah, yeah. I forgot about the whole chef thing. All right, all right. So, I guess that goes into that's the a little bit of the overview of all the different disciplines, and I guess just as far as crafting goes, you obviously you gather your materials, and when you pull up your crafting uh, window tab thing, whatever you want to call it, and you can put up to 4 different items in the little ingredients place, and then below that it'll show you what it can make, and then you just click craft or craft all, and you can make your item or whatnot. And yeah, so that's pretty standard stuff, but I think it's cool that it actually has its own menu, so you can just be like, okay, I thought I grabbed one of those things and I can't find it in my bag.
Yeah, right. It's like I could have sworn I just herbed that like
Yeah,
5 minutes ago. Where did it go?
exactly. So you can just toss it all right in there, make sure you have everything, and then just craft it from there. And then also, it looks like the disciplines will go up to skill level 400.
Yep.
And another really cool thing is that um, if you want to stop one and then pick up a different one, you will start that second one from scratch. But if you want to go back to that first one, you'll pick up right where you left off, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is a very interesting concept. I think it's very neat. I've never seen it before, so
Yeah,
it's.
I've not either.
I mean,
Um,
there's a lot of things in Guild Wars 2 that I've never seen before.
Indeed. But yeah, so with that, I think I would probably end up maxing all of mine on, or rather, all of them on my main. On my Char Guardian, I'd probably just have all of them maxed
Right.
and just switch to them if I want to use them for any length of time.
No, that's understandable. For me, I would have to say I'd probably take the same as I did when I was playing WoW, of course, be a jewel crafter,
Yeah.
uh, just to see how it differs. And then considering that I'll probably be playing an elementalist as my main, probably a tailor, because I never really did one in WoW.
Yeah, sounds good. I had like all of them in WoW.
Yeah, I'm still leveling all my tunes that have all the cool
In fact,
professions.
I
So.
think I had 3 different tunes that had maxed jewel crafting.
Well, that's because jewel crafting's epic.
Well, it is, honestly. anyways. So yeah, there's that. And then I guess we can talk a little bit about actually let's talk about the implications of what you know what that means of being able to max all of them. And we were talking about this a little bit before, but I think it'd be good to talk to our viewers about it. And how we were talking about how if you have all of them maxed, you wouldn't need to go to other people.
Right.
But the deal is, you need to spend money to switch them, and you will be spending a lot more for the higher. How am I trying to say this? You will spend more money for. Okay, it's in my head, but I don't know how to get it out.
Well, let's just use an example. So, for
Okay.
example, let's say that you're max level 400 in leatherworking, and you say, well, I want to really try out as an artificer.
There you go.
So let's say I don't want to do leatherworking anymore. I want to be a huntsman. So you drop your leatherworking and you pick up huntsman and you start from scratch and you level it all the way up to 400. Then to switch back to huntsman is going to cost you a lot more, or I'm sorry, to switch back to leatherworker is going to cost you more than if at max level than it was, say, at level 100 or 250 or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So that kind of I guess discourages people from trying to max out everything strictly to be self-sufficient, because I know in a lot of other aspects of this game they're encouraging multiplayer interaction,
Exactly.
which I think is really neat because it's something that I really didn't do a whole lot in WoW because there was no reason for me to, and
Yeah.
quite frankly it just wasn't very fun. And in Guild Wars 2 they're trying to enforce that idea, saying, hey, let's make it about the players, and it doesn't force you to interact with people if you don't want to, but it kind of discourages you from trying to be self-sufficient. So you still have to have some kind of social aspect of the game or some kind of interaction, and you're not just totally sitting in a corner, like a little closet case.
Right. Right. So let's just say that, just giving out a random number that, don't ever quote me on it because it will most definitely not be accurate. So let's just say that at level 50, if you had say, armor smith level to 50, and you were on two different disciplines. See, I almost said professions. And you were on two different disciplines, and you wanted to switch to armor smith. Say you would spend 10 gold. At level 400, if it was at level 400, you would probably spend something like 100 gold, or more.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know. These are just completely random numbers, and we'll have to wait and see what the actual numbers are. But I could imagine that if, maybe say 1,000 gold is a lot of money.
Yeah.
In Guild Wars 1, it's not at all. That's like pocket money.
Yeah, right.
You get
It's
that
like
on
loose
one
change.
question, on one quest chain. And yeah. And anyway, so say 1,000 gold is a lot of money. Say you have to spend a couple hundred to switch your discipline. That can be pretty expensive. So say you go out and gather all of your materials, and you're like, oh wait, I haven't switched to that discipline yet. It might be just a lot more efficient for you if you're only wanting to create one or two items. It might be a lot more efficient for you to go to someone else, because then you don't have to spend all that money on switching disciplines back, because then you'd have to switch back to the one you were at previously.
Exactly.
And that could get very expensive. So there's that aspect of it. But then, my example of wanting to max all of them on my Guardian is that, if I already have everything I need from the two I'm currently on, and I have all the other ones maxed, and I want to, actually level up my elementalist or something, I can switch my armor and weaponsmith to artificer and tailor.
Exactly.
And actually keep them there for a while. It'll be expensive initially, but I will actually keep them there for a while and give a lot of items to my elementalist. So that, there's that.
Yes, there is.
All right. And then I briefly mentioned gathering, and something I didn't mention in my gathering video on my channel, my crafting video on my channel, is the whole gathering aspect. Just because it was, kind of secondary to me, and then also I didn't really have the time. So, do you want to just give the brief overview of gathering?
Sure. First thing to note about gathering, which I think is really neat, again, never seen this before, is that as the gathering, you can't even really call it a discipline. The whole art, I guess, of gathering is that it's not tied to any particular skill. So, for example, in WoW, you had, if you were a scribe or an alchemist, that would automatically, more often than not, go with herbalism. And
Exactly.
That's totally not the case here. Anybody can gather. You can, as far as I know from what I've seen, you don't have to have a discipline to be able to gather. I could be wrong about that. But,
well, no, it's actually the direct quote from the wiki page is, gathering is not tied to any particular skill or discipline. So any player can collect any resource.
Exactly.
So I think that's great.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. I really like that idea, and so I don't, even if I don't have anything really, I can still gather items and then go back and use them later or sell them or what have you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then as far as the different ways that you can get these materials, you have your harvesting, which is your ores, your herbalism, or your plants and your trees and so on. And then you can get different items from just looting.
Yeah.
And the salvaging kit, which I think you mentioned was in Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, they had the identification kit and the salvage kit.
Okay.
The identification kit was
we'll know more about that, but
yeah,
the salvaging kit is back in Guild Wars 2, and you can salvage crafting materials out of unwanted items and things that you don't really need.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
or just just vendor trash. Instead of vendoring it, you can salvage it and get materials from it.
And get materials from it. Exactly.
Yeah, that was a lot of what went on in Guild Wars 1. You'd just end up with a full inventory of just crap, and I would just sit there with my salvage kit and just go through and salvage everything. So
Yeah, I still have that in WoW. I've got like bags full of gray crap on all my things, and I just haven't vendored it yet because I'm a pack rat.
And there's nothing else you can do with it in WoW though. So I like the whole salvage thing. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
that is a
awesome.
good idea. I like that.
All right. So I guess that's it for the what it actually is. Is there anything you wanted to talk about in particular?
Um, n Other than the fact that I'm really looking forward to how this is going to play in, not really.
Yeah.
This is totally new to me. I've only religiously played WoW. I've seen, a couple of other MMOs and whatnot, and haven't really played as far as, consistently anything else. So seeing this really, I only can compare it to WoW in most regards. And this is totally new, but totally looking forward to it. Really, what I got to give props to ArenaNet. They're just
Yeah.
doing. I don't think I've seen anything that I haven't liked yet. So
Yeah,
it
indeed.
definitely follows into that. So
Indeed.
really looking forward to how they're going to implement the whole crafting discipline deal.
Yeah. And then also actually I just looked again. Um and there's actually two other things we can talk about briefly because they're not very, long topics. But, the first one is actually like making the items. Um you actually have to go to a crafting station, which are in like all of the major cities and major outposts and whatnot, and probably occasionally from town to town.
Right.
And you actually have to go to a crafting station to make stuff. But that doesn't seem like much of an inconvenience, just because you'll probably be chilling in a major outpost or town anyway.
Yeah, I would
Um,
think so.
yeah, so there's that.
Yeah.
And then also oh, excuse me, I just thought of something. There was something else that we should have talked about. Something that's extremely good is that whenever you craft something, you are not given one skill point. You are given experience towards your next skill point.
Ah,
So that if you make something that's like an epic legendary item, you will probably get multiple skill points. Whereas if you're level 300 and something and you craft a, level, you know, 10 or 15 item,
hmm,
you're not going to get much experience for it, and you won't gain a skill level, but you'll still gain experience toward your skill level.
towards the next skill level.
Yeah,
Oh, very cool. I did not actually. I didn't even know that. I hadn't
yeah,
seen anything about that.
yeah. So that's really cool. I think that's another awesome thing that ArenaNet's doing with that. So yeah. Anyways, and then the last thing that I was going to talk about was recipes. Of course, you can
Oh,
get
of course.
recipes. Of course, there's recipes in the
Of
game.
course. How could I forget the recipes? Oh
I
my
know,
gosh,
right?
I'm a chef. How could
How
I
how could
possibly
you?
forget recipes?
How could you? Shame
Oh
on
my
you,
goodness, I
sir.
feel like such a fail.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, recipes. You can find them all over the place. Probably, some from merchants, some from loot, some from just whatnot. Anyways, in those, obviously, they give you the ingredients to make stuff because they're kind of a recipe, but nothing out of the ordinary there. But just
Right.
so you know that there is that recipe system. So I mean, I guess that's it. I mean, is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Just one thing that I just spotted on the wiki page here is that it says to quote the Guild Wars 2 wiki, it says the crafting process cannot fail. Critical success is possible, but this does not improve the quality of the item. Instead, it grants another bonus, such as increased experience or a quote unquote refund of some of the materials used. Which
That
sounds a lot to me, it sounds to me like it's a lot on the similar concept as the procs from WoW, like
yeah,
as a jewel crafter, you can proc the lesser cuts, the green cuts. They can proc and do you get additional stats out of
yeah,
the gems. And I think alchemists, when they're making potions, or depending on what they've you know tailored themselves into, if they're like a flask master, they can proc two flasks instead of just one. So it sounds
yeah,
like that is, instead of procking additional items, instead you're getting bonus experience or maybe an extra skill point, which I think
yeah.
is kind of cool. That's
And
really interesting.
I can imagine that if you're trying to make some like high-end, awesome, epic item, and you have like some really expensive materials,
Hmm.
and you get a critical, a critical success as they call it,
Hmm.
um, that you might get that one of those really expensive materials back. That would be awesome.
That would be cool. That would definitely come in handy.
Definitely. All right, so I guess that wraps us up for now. And as always, I'm Zolfiri. He's Psychochef. Link to his channel in the description. Obviously, you know where to find mine. And just to shamelessly self-promote myself once more, I also now have a Facebook fan page. So if you want to go and become a fan on there, I try to keep you updated right as I upload a video. So if you're on Facebook and not on YouTube, you can get that update of my next video right there on Facebook. So
Indeed.
link to that in the description. So yeah, thank you for coming on the show today, Psycho Chef.
Thank you for having me, Zolfuri. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. All right, and I guess that's it. So as always, I'm Zolfiri, and I will see you guys around.
Later, guys.